and welcome to this tutorial about the Information Hub. So let's get started. We're going to go to Pages and we're going to hit the little plus icon, another standard page, and we are going to title this Information Hub. We are done, so we're going to hit that Done button, and then you can format it wherever you want it to go in your course at the end. As you can see, mine's down here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that page and I'm going to title it in here. Here we go. Information Hub, and I don't know why it's so small right now. But there it is. Okay, so let's spell that correctly. Information Hub, make that a capital. And then I'm going to size this to the size that I want for my header. And now we're going to go ahead and build our Information Hub. So you have two options for this. You can either have all of your sections on one page, or you can do it as sub-pages underneath of your Information Hub, kind of like I have done for Module 1 with the topics. But for this purpose, we're going to format it in both ways so I can show you how to do both. So you would have your first title. You could have an overview of your Information Hub if you're doing it in the other pages. So what you could do is insert some text up here, have your overview here, and in this part you would answer these questions. What is its purpose? Like, what are the students going to find here? How they can access the resources that are found here, and how often to check in. And of course, this kind of ties in with number one. What can they find here? What information can they find here? So let's get building. So what I always put on my first section is the important dates for my parents. So I put that in as a title, and then I'm going to put it in as a text. You could also make this on Canva if you want to make it look pretty and import it as a picture. But for now, let's say that August 17th, that is the first day of school. And you would keep going all the way down until you have all of your dates listed. A personal preference for me is I only do 2 to 3 months at a time, so I don't overwhelm my parents. So I'm just going to stick with August for right now. And you would just keep going on and on and on. So that's the important date section, and now we have the standards section. This is where it gets a little bit more elaborate. So you would title it Standards. I title it Standards we are working on. And then again, you're going to hit that text button. You can even do a little button text to the South Carolina standards if you wanted to. So you could have a standard button for math if you want to, but that's totally up to you. That's extra, but I do think it's a good resource for parents to see so they can know how what you are doing in school is directly correlated to standards by the state. So you could insert a button for all of the subjects that you teach. Right now I'm only going to do math and science for time's sake. And then again, you would have that link pulled up, and then you would just use website URL, open a different window, and you'd have that link already for your parents in that button. So what I like to do is I have, so let's break it up in math and science. Let's say you only teach math and science. You would put the standards you're working on. So let's say we're working on 5 MBA. .1, and then in this next section right here, you would copy and paste the standard from the South Carolina standard website so parents can see. I always like to tweak the standards and put in I can statements so it's easier for my parents to understand. So there it goes. And I know in my classroom, for example, we alternate and switch between science and social studies. So let's say we're in science and our next social studies unit won't start for a couple weeks. I would just say more coming soon. And then you could even do a preface of our next unit in there so that they know what's coming up and what they're going to be learning about. Next section you could do is a newsletter. So we're going to put that right here. This would be your class newsletter that you would edit weekly. So we have our class newsletter. You would have this already done in your images section. If you wanted to do it on Canva, I highly recommend doing it on Canva, exporting it as a PNG and uploading it to your class website. I just think it's a lot cleaner looking for your parents. So once you save it as a PNG, it'll go ahead and it'll save it right in here. So that is where it would be saved. You could also save it in your school folder that you have on your computer, and then all you would do is just put it in there and it would pop right up. So that's how you would insert that as a PNG. You could also, like I said, type it. The last and final section that you could implement that we recommend is an announcement section. And this is where you would list any, not important dates, but any upcoming tests that students may have, any homework that parents should be on the lookout for that students might need help with. And that's just where you would list that all out. And you could even list the activities that they will be doing in school this week. So you can see it gets a little overwhelming this way. Putting a divider in between each section might help. But one way that we think we could overcome this problem is just by doing it by those subpages, like I talked about before with those modules. So let's go ahead and let's learn how to do that real quick. So again, we're going to go to pages. I'm going to have to move this. And we're going to insert, let's do our important date. Important dates, and that is where that would go. And again, you're going to see it come all the way down at the bottom of my screen. I'm going to have to move this real quick. And to put it under as a subcategory, you just click it and it drags over and voila, there you go. And now you can see that my important date section is underneath my information hub. And you could do that for your standards, newsletter, and announcement as well. I hope this tutorial helps with you with formatting your information hub and different ways you can. If you have any questions, please be sure to reach out to your instructors. Thank you for listening.